Thank you for joining Plain Pap Church for online service today. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly uploads.
Yes, I'm too close to the mirror to see what you see. While you shower down your blessings on me. Not anything I've done, Lord, as far as I can see. Guess I'm too close to the mirror to see what you see in me. Sometimes I think about the thing you have done for me. How you washed away all my sin, set my spirit free. Then I look back on my life, I haven't always done right. Still your goodness and mercy follows me every day of my life. I believe I'm too close to the mirror to see what you see. While you shower down your blessings on me. Not anything I've done, Lord, as far as I can see. Guess I'm too close to the mirror to see what you see in me. When I thought about giving up, you said trust in me. If you hold on.
Sermon preview.
But let a man evaluate himself. Rather than obsessing about the intimate details of what others are doing right or wrong in their lives, we ought to examine ourselves so as to discover how to be at our best, and we ought to often retrace our own steps, being the Monday morning quarterbacks of our own actions during the days of our recent past, not out of a sense of preoccupation, but simply considering the footprints of our own days gone by to see whether we have scrupulously followed the right course, or whether we ourselves have made missteps and therefore need to retrace our own strides to find where we've lost our way from following the Lord, so that in the end, the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts, and the deeds of our body are acceptable in His sight. But let a man evaluate himself.
Welcome to Testimony Time. We understand that some of you are working on writing down your accounts of what God has done for you, but we won't be able to share them if you don't submit them. You may have a Jesus joy smile on your face, but the congregation won't know about the work of God in your life until you share it. So please, say so, redeemed ones. Do you have a burning testimony that you want to give? Then please tell us what God has done for you by using the email listed on the screen. Do you have an offering, tithe, or donation that you would like to give Plain Path? Then please use the information on the screen to do so as well. For any further questions, please contact us via email or reach out to our church officials. Now it is time for the sermon.
Let a believer evaluate himself. An important practice which Christians need to regularly engage in is self-examination. Some people spend so much time turning the magnifying glass outward and closely examining others that they are unaware that they should be searching to find and seeking to repair the flaws in the fabric of their own character instead of scrutinizing others. On this subject of self-examination, two scriptures leap to mind. One, the scripture in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 11:28, which advises a person who's preparing to partake in the sacred rite, R-I-T-E, of Holy Communion, to evaluate himself. The scripture actually uses the word examine, and then afterwards to partake in that which is a right of sons and daughters. The Apostle Paul explains that Christians who make it into heaven are not examined or judged, with the result ending in their being condemned to die with the doom. Instead, they will be privileged to be eternally present with the Lord and the true members of the church triumphant, which is the body of believers who will make it into heaven. But the apostle asserts that Christian overcomers are not scheduled to be condemned with the world because we judge or evaluate ourselves daily. It is a wicked dead whose evaluation by God will result in condemnation, which of course here means eternal punishment. But the apostle demonstrates that if we judge ourselves, we shall not be condemned with the world. 2. The second scriptural reference about examining oneself which leaps to mind is that passage which, while referring to a person's standing in God, carries the same meaning as the everyday phrase conveys, which advise overly ambitious accusers to check themselves before they wreck themselves. That phrase means that people should consider carefully whom they so freely condemn, lest they make a mistake that is harmful to themselves. That scripture itself specifically counsels the believer to examine himself so that he can ascertain whether he himself is still in the faith, that is, in the true church, 2 Corinthians 13:5, and therefore an individual who will make it into heaven in the end, who should for that reason expect to receive a full reward. Rather than obsessing about the intimate details of what others are doing right or wrong in their lives, we ought to examine ourselves so as to discover how to be at our best. And we ought to often retrace our own steps, being the Monday morning quarterbacks of our own actions during the days of our recent past, not out of a sense of preoccupation, but simply considering the footprints of our own days gone by to see whether we have scrupulously followed the right course or whether we ourselves have made missteps and therefore need to retrace our own strides to find where we've lost our way from following the Lord, so that in the end, the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts, and the deeds of our body are acceptable in His sight. In this way, we might be able to discover the point where we veered from where He chose to lead. For the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, who delights in that son's or daughter's way. Though he falls, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with His hand. After all was said and done, didn't Job's friends, judging by their own human spirits, wrongly discern that his was not the trial of a righteous man whose faith was being tested, but instead an example of God's judgment falling on a wicked man because of his wickedness? And aren't there some people who in their haste would have judged Old Testament Rahab as a forever harlot and not as a person with a past who was afterwards transformed to be a foremother of the Messiah and a member of the Hebrews 11 Hall of Faith? But let a man evaluate himself, and then let him share in the sacred ceremonies of the saints.
Thank you for joining Plain Pap Church for online service. If you enjoyed the word today, don't forget to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hope that you have a blessed week, saints. Until next time.
Your blessings on me. It's not anything I've done, Lord, as far as I can see. Guess I'm too